Is Bitcoin finally pulling back after taking that big $100,000 level? Or can we expect further follow through to the upside? Am I positioning long or am I looking for short trades? I am going to give you my perspective on Bitcoin. I will explain you what I am looking at and in what trades I am currently in. And I will also give you my view on Ethereum. And as always, I am looking at one altcoin where in my opinion there's an interesting setup. And throughout this video, I'm going to do a very interesting and exciting announcement, what I have implemented in my trading channel for the members over at Chart Champions. So stick with this video and let's start by looking at Bitcoin on the higher time frame, because as always, before I can make a decision on the lower time frames, I need to know what Bitcoin is doing on the big picture. So on Bitcoin, I was looking at a very high time frame channel for quite a while. And this is the channel connecting this old all-time high zone. It looks like it's so far away, but that was around the 69K all-time high. We've had a nice range here, and we can see we had this beautiful retest, which offered an amazing long trade. And now we can see we broke out of this high time frame channel and we actually retested this on the higher time frame, such as the weekly. So we can have a look at this on the daily time frame. And this line up here is this high time frame channel. And we can see how perfectly we have retested this high time frame channel. So that was last week on Thursday. We have done the SFP, retested this channel for a nice move to the upside. Now this is a very interesting candle. So on the daily time frame, we broke out or broke above the 100K zone. We have hit 104,618-ish zone on Bybit. And then we've seen a massive drop to the downside. That was for $14,000. And then we went on this little bit of a low time frame recovery here. So that is definitely some massive volatility here on this chart. And yeah, there's definitely some trades we have to look at. And also in terms of positioning ourselves with hedging. So for me, for example, I am still in spot Bitcoin as well as I am in a swing long trade on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And at some point, I just have to think about the idea of looking to hedge myself when I see weakness or even sell some spots. So this is what I will cover in this video as well. And just as a disclaimer right in the beginning, so I am in one short trade on Bitcoin. It's not that we've seen massive weakness, but for me, to be honest, I am very happy with at least taking a short hedge trade up here. And if I get stopped out of this short trade, I am not bothered about that at all because I'm still in my long trade. Okay, but this retest up here into the 7.5, we can see that here on a local pull. This came right into the 7.5. If we look at this on the lower time frames, we can see we had two rejections at this level. And on this retest, it wasn't the exact top, but somewhere down here, I have taken a short trade. I'm keeping my stop loss up here just to be protected for if we see follow through to the downside. I'm not saying that this is very probable at the moment. For now, everything is still looking fairly bullish, but if there's a drop to come, I want to be hedged. Okay, this is just something I wanted to get out of the way because I'm still in a swing long trade from 24,000. Okay, so this is still a very good position. And I just like the idea of hedging that trade for potential downside. But with that being said, let's have a look at what's more probable in terms of the next trades. So as always, we can pull a nice fixed range. I'm going to include this entire volume to see where we are. So this short trade was at around this value area high retest of this local range we can see. Currently testing the point of control. Don't see an amazing trade here. The value area low is very far away, so that's also not offering the best trade. So I have to look at something else and prepare myself for some other levels. So I can check the high time frame levels. What I saw this morning was that we do have a fresh weekly. So this is a fresh weekly at 97,348, as well as a daily stacked here on this weekly. So that is a nice confluence, but now as a trader, I think I've covered this before, but what I always like to look at is price location. So for me to judge price location, I always like to look at 0.25 ranges. This is just going to split this local range into 25% quartiles. All right, so what I can see here, this is on the 50%. That is typically not the best price location we want to see, because in terms of risk to reward, that's not great. So if I were to just pull this risk to reward tool, we can see this is not really a trade I am interested in placing. Right, this is a one-to-one risk to reward. The stop loss is very, very wide, and that's just not something I like. So in terms of confluence, this level is actually interesting because if we look at this, we are still maintaining a higher low structure. So for me, I have a general rule. When we have a liquidity grab like here, we could say, but that was making a lower low. So isn't that a sign of weakness if we look at this as our previous low? For myself, I am not really classing this as a massive sign of weakness because all we did was sweep the liquidity and we closed above. So there's no candle close below. So overall, this is still within bullish market structure on the higher time frame. Okay, what we can do here is pull a simple trend line, and we can see price is trying to hold this trend line. So we had one retest, second, third, fourth, it didn't close below, so this trend line is still holding. And this weekly and daily level is still, or would play along with the idea of holding this uptrend trend line. Okay, I'm not saying this is the most perfect trend line. I'm not looking at triangles or anything like that. It's just for reference purposes and context purposes, it does make sense to look at this trend line. And all I can do here, as I explained, is look for some low time frame setup. I would never like to place a trade up here and keep my stop loss all the way down there. That's nothing I would like to do. So what I have to do is drop down a time frame, such as, let's actually use the 1 hour time frame so we don't go too low time frame. But what I can do here is look for a local entry, if there is one. Okay, so how would this look like? I would want to see price hitting that daily, maybe even into the trend line. Then I want to see some low time frame reclaims as well as market structure changes. And if I see a scenario like this, I have a local invalidation, which would be below this local low. That is too early to tell where this is going to be. But I would use this as a nice entry and this as a local stop loss, because this is significantly increasing my risk to reward. And for this trade, I could even aim for a new high. Although we can see price is slowing down a little bit here, it's still the highest probability to stick with long trades. And this is one of the scenarios I would look at. Now, if we start to see weakness and we just break through that level, I'm not going to take a long trade. And by being a little bit more conservative and wait for the reclaims as well as the market structure change, I can protect myself from a scenario happening where we just blast through the level and see continuation to the downside. Okay, I just always like to be prepared for these scenarios because it is possible that we do not respect the weekly as well as the daily. And yeah, for me, it doesn't make sense to lose money unnecessarily. So I always like to wait for confirmations. So this is one of the long trade setups that I'm interested in for or with a low time frame confirmation. So let me also have a look at something that's a little bit more high time frame, because in my opinion, to be honest with you, if we lose this weekly and daily level, I would not be surprised to test this low once again. And that would be testing the 90,000 area once again. And that will be extremely important how we react down here, because we have to keep this high time frame channel in mind. So what I would do here is wait for the daily closes. This is a very high time frame channel. And it's not that when I see 30-minute closes inside, I would get super bearish. But if we start to see daily closes below this high time frame channel, I have to start thinking about an idea that we start to see a little bit of a bigger pullback. Okay, so this is what I would do down here. And what I don't like about this low down here is the speed of recovery. We can see we've hit that level and we instantly had this almost V-shaped recovery. So I have a general rule that I don't really trust these V-shaped recoveries. I would always like to see them being retested. So this is something that I add to my context building of, if this level doesn't hold, I don't see an amazing support down here, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that low being tested again. So this would obviously be an interesting place for a long trade, because we have a daily right below, we have this previous low as reference. So if there is going to be this SFP scenario, then I'm always interested in a trade with a high time frame close above, such as a 4-hour candle. Then I would have a low time frame, or not really a low time frame, but then I would have a nice long trade setup here, as that is lining up with a much better price location. We can see if we split this entire range from the 12th of November to current price action, connecting the low and the high, we can see that is in a much better quartile, being the 0.75. So for me, there are two places to be interested in a trade. That is the weekly, and that is the daily down here. I already covered. I am currently in a short trade. This is starting as more of a hedge trade for my spot, as well as a swing long trade. So I'm not really interested in taking too much profit on that. I'm just going to see if it stopped at break even, not break even, if it stopped above this high, that's absolutely fine. Then I'm just going to let my long run. But for me, this was a place I was seeing this market slow down at least a little bit to be protected. So I hope that makes sense. And that is how I am currently positioned and what I'm looking at next on Bitcoin. So let's also have a look at Ethereum, which has been even more interesting lately, I would say. So on Ethereum, we've had an amazing trade setup. So I gave that in one of my altcoin streams. So I was looking at this trend line connecting these lower highs. What was interesting about that was that this was lining up with this previous range point of control. Okay, so I'm just going to extend this line so you can all see that. This retest lined up with the previous range point of control. So this comes down to value theory, obviously. So we've got the reclaim of this previous range value area low. What we look at next is the previous range point of control. Then we look at the previous range value area high. What we've seen here is that price didn't really reject the previous range value area high, and thus I was looking for the retest of the previous range point of control to see further continuation of this very bullish trend on Ethereum, and I was aiming for a new high, which is sitting at $4,099.5. So we can see this is a double top. So what I will cover on Ethereum is, am I interested in long trades? Am I looking for higher, or am I in a short trade? So let's have a look at this. That was obviously a beautiful long trade. I think it was also lining up with the previous day value area low at the time. So yeah, just in order to understand context, that is very important. I can now hide these levels and look at this a little bit more local. So we can still see Ethereum is in a super strong and bullish uptrend. So market structure is just very clean, right? We can see prices making higher highs, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and another higher high. So on Ethereum, I would not be too bearish, to be honest with you, especially with this a double top. So I would always like to see the liquidity taken, and we can see my alert is still sitting here. It was not hit, so I'm not really convinced that is the high on Ethereum. So with that in mind, I am a little bit more interested in longs on pullbacks. So we've also had this nice long trade that I was just covering, and other than that, I'm looking for something new to try and get into a long trade to aim for that high. Obviously that might not happen. This is just based off a feeling as well as statistics that these highs typically get taken. but it doesn't have to happen, obviously. If we start to see drops to the downside, that is also okay. Then I have to position myself and adjust my bias. But for now, I would say it's best, for me at least, to look for longs on pullbacks. So let me have a look at a couple of tools I would always look at. This is daily levels. And we can see that one looks interesting for a low time frame trade. So that actually looks very nice, because this would maintain this uptrend that I was just showing, the bullish market structure. So a low time frame entry confirmation on this daily does look interesting. So it's also around the CC. All right, so this is something I want to keep in mind. So in terms of NPOCs, there's nothing there, but let me drop down to the 30-minute time frame and look for this trade here. So what I would look for is very simple. Once again, I don't really like to preset this level. What I would do instead is wait for price to hit that daily, because that is at a good price location. It's a good level. We are in an uptrend, so in terms of context it does make sense, but nevertheless I would want to see a sign of strength first, which would be a low time frame market structure change for me to be interested in this long trade, and then trying to take this long trade into this unfinished high at 4,099.5. So this is a nice day trading opportunity for me. I am placing an alert here, as I said, not presetting, waiting for confirmation first. I would take profits along the way. It's not that I would enter this trade and hold it all the way to the top. So I would, to this local top, I would take profits along the way, but I do foresee a nice potential for this trade, and I am definitely interested in that scenario. So this is more of the day trades, and actually now it's a great place to look at or make this a small announcement that I wanted to do. And that is that I have now implemented a daily altcoin plans. So what I want to do is the following. So I have created this new template on Atas. Here I split my screen into this layout where I can see 6 altcoins. These are going to change every day. So I'm always looking at Ethereum, but then I'm going to pick altcoins where I see a nice day trading opportunity, or where I see a lot of volume being transacted on Bybit. Then I'm going to have a look at these templates that I created a while ago, and I will give a daily plans for altcoins in my trading channel. So here we can have a look at one of my plans from Friday. So I started doing that on Friday, and I'm just going to put my Discord over here so we can see. That was my daily plan. I'm going to give you an overview of the altcoins I'm looking at. So this was Ethereum, DOT, Solana, Link, XRP, and MNT. One of these coins, or one of the setups I was interested in, was Sol. Sol, interested in a long trade on a retest of previous day value area low, weekly VWAP plus untested daily zone. We can see I always attach a screenshot, draw a box for the level that I'm interested in, and that was the box on Solana. So let's have a look at how this played out. If I extend my template here on Solana, we can see this was the level I was looking at. Weekly VWAP, we had the previous day value area low at this zone, and I do explain this entire setup or this entire template in one of the courses over at chartchampions.com, right? So we can see that was the box hit perfectly, and we had an increase in price of 5%. So these setups are more of the scalp trading setups / day trading setups, and 5% for a scalp trade or day trade. What else can we ask for, right? So if you are interested in that, that is what I will give every single day over on our website, not on the website, on our trading channel, but you will get access to that if you are a Champions member. So I would say that is very powerful. You definitely don't want to miss that. And yeah, other than that, on these YouTube videos, I can't do that every day, obviously. But yeah, let's continue with Ethereum. One more thing I was looking at, or am still looking at, is another long trade if we start to see a bigger pullback. And if this level does not hold, there's one more place for me that I'm interested in, and that is the daily at 3,620. So I'm interested in these two dailies. And as long as we do not lose both of these dailies, I'm still expecting a new high to come. If I start to see that both of these dailies do not hold and we start to see this trend change, I'm going to adjust my bias, and I would no longer be too confident that we are going to take that 4,100 level on Ethereum. So I hope that prepares you for Ethereum and Bitcoin. So as promised, I'm also going to have a look at one altcoin. So this altcoin will be Link. And on Link, I obviously host altcoin weekly updates over on the website. I was looking at one SFP trade here on Link at around $26.9. We can see from my entry that I gave last week, price already dropped 8%. So just for you to see, this right here is the setup that I gave, altcoin weekly update of the 5th of December. We were still trading in this low time frame triangle here. And I was marking this out. If we take this short trade, we have to take profits on the retest of the triangle. And then we might see continuation. And if not, I'm targeting the $20 zone down here. So we can see if we go back to this, we've had a low time frame retest exactly as expected. However, we didn't have enough strength to make a new high, and indeed we see a little bit more follow through to the downside. So this short trade is still valid. And what is my target for this trade? Why am I targeting the $20 zone? So if we get down here, in my opinion, this would be a beautiful place for a low to be formed. So for this, I can hide the short trade and look at this on the higher time frame. Once again, the theory that I already touched upon on Ethereum is the previous range theory. Okay, we can see we broke out of this nice range. We've made a new local high at least. And I am always interested if price pulls back and retests the previous range value area high. This will be at around this $20 zone that I was mentioning. So to be exact, it's 19.3. We do have beautiful confluence around this level, being a daily as well as this uptrend anchored VWAP. I've mentioned it before, but these anchored VWAPs are extremely strong on altcoins, so you have to mark it out on your chart. And in terms of confluence, that is just very beautiful. So this will be one of, that is the long trades that I already gave. Let's see, this is one of the long trades I would be interested in and gave for the Champions members in one of the altcoin streams. So I want to see the levels being hit. As always, low time frame strength, being low time frame market structure changes, and then I would be interested in even a swing long trade targeting a new high. So this will be one of the very interesting setups that I'm that I'm looking for on the higher time frames on one of my altcoins. In between, we obviously have these scalp and day trading opportunities that I mentioned before. So that is going to wrap up what I'm looking at on Bitcoin as well as on Ethereum and Link. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna do more YouTube videos like this, and if you want to get daily insights into my altcoin trading and daily plans, you can obviously find that in our Discord. So I hope you all enjoyed this. Have a great rest of the day and see you next time. Goodbye.